everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Inês, this is Milena, and we do mom, lifestyle and beauty videos. In today's video, I'll be sharing my top tips for moms to be and new moms. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to my channel. Also, if there are any videos you'd like me to do, please leave them in the comment section below. So let's get into this. The first thing I got asked when I was pregnant is, do I want natural birth or do I want a C-section? At the beginning, I had no idea. I thought I wanted a C-section, and then my mom was like, no, you must have a natural birth. Why are you putting yourself through all this, it's a major surgery. Why are you putting yourself through that? Your recovery takes longer. Why are you going to put yourself through it when you can have natural birth? It's a natural thing. You get your epidural and it's not so bad. But I was really scared about natural birth. I thought about it and I thought to myself, right, I'll go with natural birth. If there's complications, C-section's alright as well. When I was looking on Facebook at other moms-to-be, asking moms what their birthing experience was, I saw a lot of moms were unhappy with their birthing experience because they had their hearts set on natural birth, and then they ended up having to have an emergency C-section. And I think for moms-to-be, it's important to think to yourself, yes, I want natural birth, but it is also important to think about the possibility of having a C-section. It might not happen, you might get your natural birth, but if it does happen that you have to have an emergency C-section, you have sort of mentally prepared yourself beforehand, and when you go into the birth or your C-section, it's not so scary and it becomes a happier moment, because ultimately your birth is supposed to be a happy moment. It's supposed to be the happiest day of your life. Hearing that beautiful cry for the first time, I just burst into tears. I think every mom just bursts into tears when they hear their baby cry for the first time, and it's just such a beautiful moment. It really breaks my heart when moms say that their birthing experience wasn't a happy one. I think it's really important for moms to just mentally prepare themselves for a C-section as a worst case scenario. If babies goes into distress, then a C-section's okay too, because ultimately what you want is baby to come out healthy and happy. The other big thing that I got asked when I was pregnant is, am I going to bottle feed or breastfeed? And it's a very personal question. I think I wasn't too sure what I wanted. Of course, breastfeeding is best. When Milena was born, I had problems breastfeeding. My milk didn't come in until Milena was 5 days old, and not being able to breastfeed at the beginning, I did try. Before giving her a bottle, I would try and get her to latch, but she just wasn't latching. We tried nipple shields, moving her around, trying to get the right position, but she just wouldn't latch. And I didn't want her to starve, so I gave her a bottle almost straight away. Every time she wanted a feed, I would try to breastfeed her, and then I would bottle feed her. I only had milk when Milena was 5 days old, and I didn't have much. My mom and gran went to buy a breast pump, so I tried to pump. I tried to manually express. I have a friend that's a doctor. She showed me how to manually express, and I just couldn't get anything out. I got like 20 mils for like hours of pumping, and Milena was already used to the bottle, and I just wasn't getting anything. So we just thought, you know what, let's just stick to the bottle. It was lovely breastfeeding, that closeness I felt with her, but it just wasn't happening. So we just went with the bottle. It was also great because Matt got to do some night shifts. He didn't work for the first, I think, like 2 weeks that Milena was born, so I would wake him up in the middle of the night and give her and the bottle, and it was quite nice to be able to have a sleep while she was happily being fed. As long as baby's being fed, you know, bottle or breast, you do what's best for you. My next big tip is, if you think something's wrong, go get it checked out. There might be nothing wrong, but there's no harm in going to get it checked out. This goes for when you're pregnant. If you think there's something wrong, phone the gynae, go to the maternity ward and have yourself checked out. There's nothing wrong with it, rather be safe. 7 days after Milena was born, we went to the pediatrician to get it checked out, and she was absolutely fine. And literally almost the second we walked out, she started projectile vomiting, and we had just been to the pediatrician and there was nothing wrong, and she started vomiting and it was awful. I started to like get anxious, and I wanted to go back to the pediatrician. My husband didn't want to because it was another medical expense. Everyone said, you know, baby's fine, babies do that, but it just kept building, and every time she would throw up, it felt like it was the whole bottle that she was throwing up. So every time she would throw up, I would start to feel more and more anxious, and eventually after a while my gran said, take her to the doctor, just don't worry about the medical bill, just take her to the doctor. And I did. I took her to the doctor. Obviously everything was fine, but I can tell you that if I didn't go to the doctor when I did, I probably would have gone into postpartum depression. So that just going to the doctor, him saying no, everything's fine, don't worry, really was such a stress reliever. Those first few weeks are so hard. You're adjusting to life with a newborn. You know, they cry at night, you don't know why they're crying, you try and do everything and they still seem unhappy. So really, you know, if you think something's wrong, go get it checked out, because it just takes off so much stress from you, and it's not an added stress that you need. My next big tip is to listen to yourself and do what you feel is right for you and your family. Everyone's got advice on how you should raise your family, what you should do, but if that doesn't work for you, you don't have to take their advice. My mom and gran were horrified at the fact that I would leave Milena, I would let Milena sleep in the bed with us. First, when we got home from hospital, I would put her in the bassinet, and with the C-section it was just a little bit too hard to, every time she made a noise, get up, you know, and check how she is. So eventually, I think the second night, I put her in the bed with us, and it was just so much easier. And we stayed at my mom's house for about a month and a half, and during that time she just slept in the bed with us. When we got home, she then went onto her bassinet and she was absolutely fine. If we go away or if we go to my parents to look after their house, I just put her in the bed with us. We don't have a camp cot, so we just put her in the bed with us, and she's been fine. Then when we get back home, she goes back into her bed and, you know, she's chilled. Also, I think the Nurture One pillow helps a lot. Another thing I did was I used to rock Milena to sleep. My mom and gran were also horrified at the amount of time I spent holding her. They said it's like the most held baby in the world. My gran would say that, you know, she would feed their kids and, you know, feed my mom and my aunt and uncle and put them straight to bed, and she wouldn't rock them to sleep like how I rocked Milena. And, you know, I just wanted to spend that time with Milena, so I did it. And that was, she's my baby. I did what I wanted to do. I was on maternity leave for 5 months, and I rocked her to sleep those whole 5 months. And when I gave it to my mom, for my mom to look after her, my mom was saying, oh, her back's getting sore because she's got to rock Milena to sleep. So I said, no, that's fine, I'll teach her how to sleep on her own. So that weekend, I just, instead of standing up and rocking her, I sat down and I patted her bum, holding her, and she eventually fell asleep. And then I transitioned that into the bed. So within a weekend, I'd managed to get her to sleep on her bed by herself. Well, not entirely by herself. I still had to pat her bum. She can fall asleep by herself. there are times where I'm just desperate for her to sleep and I keep patting her bum and you know she just won't sleep. I walk out the room, come back 5 minutes later and she's fast asleep. So she has the ability to sleep by herself. I just enjoy being there with her while she falls asleep. So ultimately do what's right for you and your family. You're the parents, you've made this baby, you've watched it grow, you've spent the most time with this baby. You know actually what's right for the baby. You know your baby and you know what's right for your baby. My next big tip is to allow yourself extra time before you leave home. There is always something that comes up. We've had multiple times where I'm about to leave the house and Punami happens. Before Milena was baptized, we were going to see the priest, and literally 5 minutes before we were about to leave the house, she just had a poo up to here, and it was just as quickly as I could get that onesie off, get the body off. I didn't even have time to put in the bath. I just got it in the sink and washed her, and then got her dressed quickly and out we went. I used to have times where I had to pick up my baby sister from school at 2 o'clock, and I get Milena in the car and she threw up everywhere, and just like threw up everywhere. Get her back out the car into the house, clean the chair, get her changed, put her back on a wet chair and go and fetch my baby sister. And then the other thing, and then recently 5 minutes, she's 7 months old, and 5 minutes before I'm about to leave for work, she had another punami where I had to like bath her to get her clean. My next big tip is to have a sense of humor. Yes, it is difficult those first few weeks when they're crying and you know they punamis and all sorts of things, but if you have a sense of humor and you make light of the situation, it just makes life so much easier. There were times Milena would do something funny and you just laugh about it, and you sort of, you know, forget about all the awful things that have happened, how she's cried the night before for 2 hours straight or whatever. So definitely, as you know, make light of a situation. If she has a punami, laugh about it, because it is really funny when they're covered in poo up to here. Yes, you gotta clean it. You might want to get your husband to clean it, you know, that's even better. But yeah, definitely make fun of the situation. My last tip is it does get easier. Baby ends up being in a routine by 12 weeks. They end up sleeping a little bit more during the night instead of waking up 3-4 times. You know, they might only wake up once or twice, and you get the hang of it, you know, a bit more. You've got them into a routine, you know what's happening, you're becoming better parents, and even though they do change over time, you start to know your baby, you know what they need when they need it. And honestly, I often get told, oh, she's so happy and you know, hyper, she's not tired, she's not going to go to sleep. And I know my baby, I know when she needs to sleep, and I lie her down and she's out. I know that she needs to sleep, even though other people might not see it. I know, you know, you as a mom, you have that instinct and you know what your baby needs. So thank you for watching my video. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If there are any videos you'd like me to do, maybe a video on how I got Milena to sleep through the night. She's been sleeping through the night since she was about a month old. So if you'd like to see a video like that, or anything you need help with or you'd like me to do a video on, please leave it in the comments section and I'll definitely get to it. Thanks for watching. Bye!